I hope everybody is able. Cool. Hey, hi Tushar, hi Bhaskar. Hi everyone who will tune and might tune into this video. Hi everyone. This is weekly 9 p.m. Sunday Dhuan Roadmap Progress live stream. This is inspired from a blockchain project called MakerDAO, and basically MakerDAO community used to live stream their progress periodically to give people a window into the work that they've been doing, and basically what are the future plans, what is the hard work that they're doing, and which helps us to basically include the people as part of our journey. Similarly, this is call every week allows us to give people a window into what Dhwan is doing and what Dhwan did this week. Our small milestones, our relentless hard work, our focus, and especially the problems that we're facing when it comes to engineering, when it comes to building a team, when it comes to moving from one phase to another phase. And today, in this call with me, I have two of my colleagues. One is Bhaskar from Mysore, Bhaskar Anand, and the other is Tushar Singh from Bangalore. And unfortunately, due to personal reasons, couple of members are today not with us in this live stream. We hope that by next week they are also able to basically join us in the next live stream. Let me talk about the agenda for this call. I will like to give updates on the pre-MVP launch. So there is a good news that we planned to launch the pre-MVP on March 20, and we were able to basically honor that deadline, and we did launch our pre-MVP on March 20. Maybe at the end of the call, I can give a glimpse of the product that we are building. Although it's in very early stage, it's still a lot of iterations around design, around the product ideation, around implementation, and especially the I guess I want to take an eagle's eye view of what exactly we are going to build in MVP. I think although there are a lot of exciting and a lot of important ideas that have come from even our friends and people who have watched the past live streams. So I'm really happy that it left a good impression on some people, and people were excited to suggest a couple of things which we can implement into the product. Although each of those suggestions need to be considered keeping the long roadmap in mind, but uh, the happiness that I have is that it resonates with people what we are building. It The acceptance, the validation that it's a real problem, and the importance that I guess I did not expect from uh, a couple of audience regarding this problem. So I'll share my screen, and just let me give you a basic overview of what we'll be talking about in this stream. Let me share my screen. Tushar, Bhaskar, let me know if my screen is visible properly. It should be visible now.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
visible.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hmm. Cool. In live stream part 7, March 22, 2026, The agenda for uh, the agenda for roadmap progress is basically four things that I want to cover in this call. First is that we want to talk about the plans that we have for our communication service and model service, uh, architecting the post inference AI processing infrastructure, launching of the pre MVP, and plans for the code review infrastructure. So let me start with the point number one, that is the plans for communication service and model service. So in the backend infrastructure, uh, we plan to basically create a new microservice which will be the communication microservice, and the it will have the ownership of everything communication related for the one platform. So when it comes to, let's say, emails, when it comes to SMS, when it comes to push notifications, when it comes to WhatsApp messages, when it comes to maybe Telegram messages, or whatever marketing channel that eventually reaches the potential customer, and where the customer might want to interact with the one platform, all that communication related functionality will be part of will be part of the uh, functionality that communication service will have. So this is also interesting because this is the second time in my life that I will be building a communication service. I did not build it the first time. Matlab, it's nostalgic actually, because when I started my industrial career with Quench, the first project that I worked with was a communication internal communication service, and the first couple of projects that I picked were basically extending the functionality of the communication service. So the it was a drop wizard Java microservice with a lot of backend built. I had to build the front end in Angular JS before Angular 2. So it does give this good nostalgic feeling that this time I'll be architecting a communication service for my own platform for so many years later. And especially there are a couple of choices that we have, like obviously we thought about whether we should build ours or whether we should outsource it to some third party platform like Mailchimp or Twilio. So I guess at this point, because we want to make hearing care affordable, and the potential customers, a large majority of them in India, have a audio first, mobile number oriented culture. Like when you move outside the big cities, I think people have more preference for talking on mobile and like reaching out on mobile phone. And obviously that might be a headache sometimes, but I think that's deeply embedded in our contemporary culture. Because what I've observed with other brands is that sometimes they make it uh, impossible for the customers to reach them out on audio. And since we are building in a voice platform, since we are building for everyone, it's an inclusive platform. We want plan to do offer super premium to affordable offering. We don't want to restrict it to maybe the privileged, maybe the super privileged. So that gives us an incentive that it's a good idea to maybe own the entire communication service by our own. To uh, communication service will be a project which will be picking up in this new sprint, which will be coming up, sprint 4, from this Wednesday. Then a second change that I want to talk about is the model service. Model service is basically right now we have the voice microservice which owns all the voice related functionality of the one platform. And uh, it also has a model interface layer, which basically means that a layer which is a logical layer which is responsible for all the interaction that happens with machine learning models. So, keeping scalability and keeping single responsibility principle in mind, we decided that it would be a good idea to basically isolate the entire model interface into its own microservice, because this is going to expand in its scope. It's going to expand in functionality. So so basically the architecture would look like that: the voice microservice, which is responsible for all the voice functionality, which is one of the critical core component of the architecture of the infrastructure that we are building for Duhan. So that will be handled by voice microservice, but underlying there will be a downstream service which will be the model service, and model service will be the owner of all the brainiac processing, all the stuff related to models, pre-inference and post-inference that will happen, and all of that ownership will lie with model service. So that is a core priority for the upcoming sprint. Then the did somebody through a chat? Second thing which we will be planning, like the second point that I want to talk about is basically architecting the post inference AI processing infrastructure. So, right now, the experimentation that we did after completing the research POC with voice AI, and the work that we've done is basically not production grade, it's not refined, it's not post processed, it's basically raw inference from the models that we developed. So I guess we need a framework, a mental framework, to decide that how will we architect the post inference AI processing infrastructure to make the quality metrics of our AI reference for the one platform production grade, like something which can be really impressive, and something which really improves the accuracy of the text, of the speech to text part of our stack. So this is something which is in the thinking stage. This is I think an abstract problem, something which is has many open questions, which which will take some time. So we'll spend next 15 days basically preparing a roadmap and preparing a guiding mental framework on how we should do the post inference AI processing. And maybe in the next month, the April, we'll be spending the entire April month building this post inference AI processing functionality, and do some iterations on it. The goal is to at least do two iterations, so that we have some real metrics and some real experimentation data to basically give us an idea that how it will evolve in the next couple of months, and how we should basically build this part of the platform. And also when it comes to the criticality of this functionality, because it's the backbone of the entire platform, right? If you want to build AI native digital first hearing aids, and not just hearing aids, the hearing care platform, then the inference quality has to be really really good, because this is not something which the person is doing for enjoyment. This is something which they will depend upon, right? It is something which is a essential part of a potential customer's life, something which is very critical. If you have hearing impairment, if you suffer from hearing loss, right? So something which is really challenging, something which is really interesting. So we'll spend the next 15 days basically researching, reading, talking with people, I'm reaching out to some really experienced uh, people in audio space and in machine learning space to basically come up with some sort of blueprint on how this infrastructure will look like, right? Cool. So the third point which I will like to talk about is launching of the pre MVP. So that is something which I'd like to show if I can. So let me see if I can share a small recording that we did for our uh, pre MVP which we did build. And if it's just let me check if I can share the screen. Give me 1 minute. Hmm. So the reason for the reason for basically launching a pre MVP stage was that we are in talks with certain people, and we want to show that we work hard, we are working hard, we are not building castles in the air. We are really sincere and really serious about what we want to accomplish, right? And so that is something which we are focusing on recently. And I like very happy to say that we were focused and worked hard for a week to basically accomplish a end-to-end working prototype for what we are building. Let me see if I can share that screen. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, cool. Mm, let me see if I can bring it online, and let me close my screen for once. Yeah. Okay, like I think there might be a problem where we're not able to share the recording of pre MVP for mobile. So maybe we'll share it in a different way, not on the live stream. Let me share my screen and basically work on. So like right now, I think our language priority is decided by a couple of languages that we'll be focusing on, and that language priority will be that initially we'll be starting with the Initially, we'll be focusing on three languages, which I think are important demographically and which allows us to basically calibrate the quality of the service for big segments of population. The first language that we'd be focusing on would be Hindi. The second language that would be focusing on will be Bengali, and the third language that will be focusing on initially giving support for will be Marathi. So Bengali, Marathi, and Hindi will be the initial three languages that we are planning to support. Let me talk about the last point of the call, that is the plans for review infrastructure. So basically, what I mean by review infrastructure is that, as I promised in when we started this company, as I earlier promised, that Dhuvan will be a prolific deployer of artificial intelligence across all the stacks where we think that pragmatically and practically it's providing and generating value for our team, our potential customers, or maybe just being economically profitable, right? So in the code review process, this is something which we are not doing well at this point, and I think we need to make a lot of progress in this. So basically, we want to automate some parts of the review process, code review process, so that we can focus on increasing the throughput of pull request that we are creating every week. We want to improve the productivity and basically translate the AI leverage into more work being done per unit time, which is like per week. So there are a couple of things that we will be doing before end of month. I guess 1 week is left. So first thing would be that we'll be setting up Sonar Link for the entire Dhuan platform. So I personally am a big fan of Sonar for the past decade, and I think it does some really, it forces you to write good code. It forces you to, if you use the quality gates and if you like really enforce very strong rules, it handles a lot of you can say the first degree code quality parameters for your entire code base. So that the first thing would be that we'll be setting up Sonar Lint for the entire Dhwan platform. Second thing that we plan to do is basically maybe procure a third party AI, or basically not build, deploy a particular enterprise AI or maybe a open source AI which has access to the entire platform and which kind of does three practical things. One is give a accurate summary of the changes that there are in the pull request. I'm not personally a very big fan of using AI summarization for pull request. I still believe that we should do very, very deep code reviews. But I think it will at least help us get a context of the work that is being reviewed, give us a context of the pull request. To will be giving this particular AI access to our entire code base and across the repositories, so that it has a, kind of like a meta state about the entire platform, about the work that we're doing. So it will do couple of things. One would be it would summarize the pull request. It would basically do a peer review on the pull request. So there are a couple of options, couple of exciting things that we can do. So this is something which we want to build fast, because I think review process is becoming a blocker for our productivity, and that is something which like has been disappointing for a couple of weeks. So that is something which will focus on improving before end of March and maybe in the first week of April. So that's all from our side. Dhuan live stream part 7 for this week. Thank you for joining, people who have joined, and maybe I'd like Bhaskar and maybe Bhaskar would give a high level summary of what we are doing on the machine learning side of things. So over to you, Bhaskar, for like just give a high level summary. I think that should be enough, right? Whatever plans for the upcoming weeks. So over to you, Bhaskar.
Yeah. Thank you, Harshit. Uh, so, hello everyone, whoever is watching this live stream. So, I am here to talk about the ML stuff, whatever we have done and whatever we are progressing towards. So, based on the results of our pre-MVP testing and the overall development scenario of our product, we are now focusing on the post machine learning processing, the part after the model gives results, basically the inferences, the correction in inferences. It's not just about like whatever the results models give. We also need to post process it. There are a lot of there's a lot of post processing required. For example, I will give you a very simple example. Say like someone is speaking grammatically incorrect things, like, or the model results are like somewhat grammatical incorrect. So it's our responsibility to make it correct, so that the end user, whoever is using our product, will get results in the correct order. He may understand it better, since the impaired persons, the what we say, audio challenged persons who are not able to hear properly, they haven't heard their whole life, or they are hard of hearing, so they are not well accustomed to the human understanding of talks. Like, say, since we all are able to talk and hear properly, we can understand, and we can infer from if anyone is saying something in an alternate way, like which may be grammatically incorrect also, but we infer the correct meaning. But that is a challenge for the persons who are hard of hearing. So it's our responsibility as a product developers to fix these things. So this is one of the very basic aspects of whatever we are building. So in order to summarize this, basically we are developing a complete end-to-end product which can cover all the edge cases, all the hardships a user can face, and deliver smooth results to the users, and they are very much satisfied. That's all from my side. Over to
Thanks.
you, Harshit.
I think thank you, Bhaskar, for doing a giving a perspective on the upcoming weeks for what we plan to do with the machine learning side of the one platform. And personally, we founders also are focusing on what would be the personal ML philosophy at Dwan. And that is something which is not easy to build, because there are many competing ideas regarding machine learning and how to do this sort of thing. So I think that's all from this call. Thanks Tushar for joining, thanks Bhaskar for joining, and thanks anyone who joined for listening. And thank you everyone for have a good weekend, have a good night, and have a good week.